There once was a ship that put to sea, and the name of the ship was the Belly of Tea. The winds blew hard, her bow did down, oh blow me bully boys blow. Soon may the wellerman come to bring us sugar and tea and rum. One day when the tonguing is done, we'll take our leave and go. She had not been 2 weeks from shore when down on her a right whale bore. The captain called all hands and swore he'd take that whale in tow. Soon may the wellerman come to bring us sugar and tea and rum. One day when the tonguing is done, we'll take our leave and go. Before the boat had hit the water, the whale's tail came up and caught her. All hands to the side, harpooned and fought her when she dived down low.
All right, and welcome everyone to the much anticipated, not too long overdue session 19 of Skull and Shackles, our Pathfinder first edition actual play run by myself and these four brave and just super lucky. I don't know if it's luck. I mean, part of it was luck. Part of it was really good planning last session. I still can't believe how well that went. There were so many failed will saves. So many failed will saves. It was bonkers.
Those
Absolutely
rolls were
bonkers.
incredible.
Yes, it was. You know, the thing about that fight, and maybe you guys will disagree with me. Maybe you'll agree with me. The thing about the Dominator fight was it could have swung either way. It just swung in your direction. And you still lost a lot of people. And all of you still were at risk. There was just a couple will saves here and there. I mean, that little devil, she earned her keep for sure. She's growing up. She's growing up. But with enough of that.
I can't wait to tell you what she gets next evolution.
I don't want it, but it's good. So with that being said, we're going to go around the table, have everyone introduce themselves as is tradition, and then we're going to dive into a little bit of role play, as this is a role-playing game, because, well, let me say, it's signed with swishes. Stop it. Stop it. That's not real. Not allowed.
Contract devils.
Blood on the deck, says Synth Weasel. Grab a mop. So much blood. And a lot of charred wood. Like, the Dominator's not in great shape. Like, it's not in great shape. But
a little bit blacker than it used to be.
It's a little used, but we'll fix it. We'll fix it. It'll be good. But without further ado, let's go around the table. Let's have everyone introduce themselves, tell us who you're playing, and then I'll do a quick little intro, quick little recap, and we'll dive right into play. Take it away, Atomic.
Hey everybody, I'm Atomic. I would be playing our beloved tiefling, Harlan Blackmane, who is very excited to sail the Dominator. So it's going to be a good time.
Hi everybody, I'm playing Caius the Kinless, our Asmodean Anti-Paladin, who is very excited to captain the Dominator.
Is it Captain or Admiral, the Dominator?
Well, normally an Admiral commands a fleet. Like, the Admiral doesn't normally command a single ship.
Yeah.
So, like, so there's normally a captain and an admiral on one ship.
Mm-hmm.
So even if you are even if a commander is a captain, they're referred to as captain, even though they're a commander if they're captaining a ship.
Loud's not allowed to talk anymore. Zeb, take it away.
Oh, what's going on, guys? I'm
Face,
Zeb.
he was like, "You son of a." I'm sorry.
I am the newly captain for the renamed Devil's Deed. I'm the captain of the Bastard's Hand.
Mm-hmm.
Bastard's Hand, huh? I'm Patrick. I play, or Light's Fantastic. I play Wakir, the thrice drowned, our evangelist of Besmara.
Beautiful, beautiful. And of course, I am Dare Wolf, the game master.
Oh,
And there it is. And during our last session, the crew almost ended the campaign early, but they actually jumped ahead 2 levels. I did give them 2 levels because they killed, I think, close to 100 enemy combatants and took a giant ship that they have no right having at this point in the campaign, but they do. And you know what?
He broke Pathfinder.
I mean, as is tradition, it's all good. But they took a giant ship, and sadly enough, several of the crew did die. So I'd like to just take a moment. I'd like to take a moment to play taps as we remember the fallen. We're going to remember Tam Narwhal Tate. We're going to remember Ambrose Fishguts Croup. It's such a good character arc. Mahim, Slippery Sly Longan, Crimson's Cogward, whose hand had just recovered, finally, and the always in the crow's nest, Arietta Banson.
And I don't think the viewers know about Rosie yet.
Ah! Interestingly enough, so Rosie Cuswell fell into in the arms of an angel plays. Yes, exactly right, Synth Weasel. But Rosie Cuswell fell into the water with the sharks, but Calm Animal was cast on those sharks. We rolled for it. Rosie Cuswell survived. She did survive. She was pretty wounded, pretty messed up, but she survived and is now going to actually be the Sawbones aboard the Dominator. So we're very happy to announce that Rosie Cuswell did survive the fight. But we are going to open our first scene. We see as is tradition, usually, we see an bird's eye view of the port of Quent. And we see that there are just dozens of ships inside of the port. However, there is one ship that is anchored a ways out. So there's a large sort of bay area that is sort of cradled by a number of these little islands and atolls. And then there is obviously the shoreline with lots of docks and what have ye. But out sort of in the middle of this bay area, we see this massive, massive ship. And on that ship, we see it is called the Dominator. Now, the deck itself is a little crispy, a little blackened from some of the fireball seeds that got thrown up there, as it were. But we see that the crew is busy at work. And on the shoreline, as we look back, we see on the shoreline there are hundreds of pirates and citizens of Quent gathered on the shoreline. All of them are looking out at this Dominator. And the city itself is abuzz, and absolutely abuzz, because flying from the flagstaff, from the flagpole of the Dominator, is a pirate flag. There is a pirate flag flying from it. So there has just been a buzz of conversation. And over the last several days, the crowds themselves have ebbed and flowed, but there have been a steady just gathering of people on the shoreline looking out at this ship, just their mouths agape, agag, as it were, looking out. But we're actually going to pivot over to a different ship, smaller ship. From the stern of this vessel, we see that there's a number of craftsmen who are currently ripping off a plank that is the nameplate of the Devil's Deed, and it's being replaced. It's being replaced with a brand new name. And we see a plank being risen up, and that name plank says, "The Bastard's Hand." As we zoom up from the waterline, up over onto the stern quarter of that ship, we see a man who... Well, what is your expression right now, Edward? How are you looking? How do you feel right now, Edward? Talk to us. Talk to me. Tell us how the heck you're doing.
Edward, this has been his dream. Ever since he heard tales of piracy from those scared or those who wish to join, this has always been his dream. It's where his blood comes from, so he is just content and kind of at peace with everything that's around him right now. He's just, all the excitement's kind of blown over. He has a chance to just kind of sit and enjoy in some amount of peace and quiet this moment that he's been scraping for his entire life.
And as he is just sort of breathing in that fresh sea air, a little bit of salt in the air, a new face, someone that we as players and our viewers have not seen before. But he wears a wide, long, sort of floppy hat. He has a big beard that is white, but almost seems to be a little bit blue. There's a little bit of blueness in it. And he has a small pipe that is currently lit, and it smells of vanilla tobacco. As he just takes one step up, another step up, and he rests his left arm on the railing that is just above the main deck, where we see a number of the crew busying themselves with cleaning, working on repairs, etc. And he brings the pipe up, takes a long draw in with the pipe. Then he interrupts your piece. I've seen that look before, my friend. I've seen it. I've seen it in a mirror some, 10 or 15 years ago. You're content. And I will warn you, my friend, contentness is a dangerous thing to settle into.
I suppose, Harper. I suppose. It's trust me. I may be content with my newfound position, but I'm still quite hungry. And the Shackles, that's a feast that I'm ready for.
Well, it seems you have a crew under your command, a ship under your tutelage, your captaincy. What should we say? I was not surprised to get a message from you, friend. And he takes another step forward. As he does so, the camera kind of pans around behind you, and we see a few familiar faces, along with several new faces on the deck. And he looks out at the crew. He says, yes, I wasn't surprised to get your message, per se. I always knew that you would make something of yourself, old friend. But are you quite certain with the... And he just motions to those busying themselves. And we're just going to kind of go from person to person real quick. All right? We see old Barefoot. See Barefoot there. She is just kind of ordering a couple of the generic crew members around. We see Sailmaster Ratline is actually got a number of the sails on the deck, and he's actually currently stitching and actually repairing some of the rips and the holes in the sails. We see Boatswain Wu Atun. She is giving some orders and some instruction to some of the new crew. And then we see a bit of a new face. We see this Birdman. Who is who's actually up at the front of the boat, and he is meticulously inspecting this large crossbow up on the deck. He is looking at it, and you see his kind of feathers on his arms kind of furl up a little bit and kind of poof out, and then he kind of nods his head and looks around, and then you see a bit of magic as seems to be casting a spell, and you see a couple of little nicks and scrapes in the ballista that's up at the deck on the top of the forecastle there. We see some of those get repaired, and then he looks back at another woman, this dark-haired woman with kind of black eyeshadow. She is simply sitting with a little knife. She's kind of chipping away at it, like whittling away. And then obviously we see the rest of the crew, but he motions out again, Harper, and he says, "You really think this crew will allow you to feast as you so desire?"
I believe so, Harper. I believe so. They're just as hungry as I am. They want their names to be written in the bloody pages of the Shackles. They want that taste of glory just as much as I do.
Is it glory, old friend, or infamy that they seek?
To those against us, it will be infamy. To those with us, it will be glory, and it will be a fine tale that they tell.
As the two of you are talking, the woman who is whittling, she's barefoot. She's wearing this kind of red coat. She walks very much beelining it across the deck, it seems almost as the crew so much parts before her. It doesn't seem as though she herself is doing it. It was just very situational. But she marches forward, and she calls up to you. "It is Captain Caius, yes?"
Captain Edward.
I can't do a Jamaican accent, so bear with me, all right? I'm going to mess this up. but I'm gonna try. Jamaican, you know, there it go. I can't do it. I'm
Okay.
not gonna butcher it. I'll try it next time. But she calls out to you, "Forgive me. My name is Jade Blackweather, and I need to speak with you and Captain Caius. It is a matter of great importance."
Well, Gaius, I believe, is wrapping up some of his own things aboard his own vessel, but we will be joining him shortly.
He nods.
And if it's important to me and him, I'll see you have an audience.
Harper leans over and whispers to you, Edward, "Where did we pick this one up?"
Just kind of appeared.
Nods. Huh. The woman gives a short bow, pivots away, and walks back to the front of the ship, where now we're going to pan up and over to the gargantuan, just insanely big Dominator. I'm going to have trouble showing this map because the ship is just so huge. But it's fun. They have a man of war. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. But on the stern castle, as it were, stern quarter of the deck, we see Captain Caius, and there is the little one over there. We have Alex. He is the youngest member of the crew, and he is actually busy polishing and cleaning one of these strange new weapons that you guys got on the Dominator. You have cannons now. I know we said no guns, but I decided it'd be fun because cannons are sweet. Pirates cannons, it's great. But we see him, he's busying, just polishing, cleaning it up. And we see the rest of the crew as we sort of pan over the deck. We see the rest of the crew busying themselves with repairs, scrubbing the scorch marks, replacing bits of wood, planks, railing, and what have ye. The ship wasn't too damaged during the fight, but probably about 20% damaged. It was still kind of messed up, right? But Caius, we see you standing near the wheel. What is your expression? What are you looking like right now as we watch as Sandra Quinn approaches you?
Caius is looking pleased with himself. He's looking out at the crowd on the nearby docks and considering how many of them they're going to need to take on and how many subpar crewmen they're going to take to replace, get the Dominator up to crew.
Up to snuff. I like
Yeah.
it. I like it. And as you look pleased, similarly to the way that Harper approached, but with a little bit more purpose, I would say, we see Sandra move up, and she says, "Captain Caius, you've done well for yourself. I suppose I should say well for all of us. But I wanted to ask you something, if I may, Captain."
Of course.
While I am grateful for the appointment of first mate for the Dominator, I question. I know that Cutthroat Grok was aiming to be first mate aboard the ship, should we take it. Why did you choose me over her?
I don't think Grok has a skill with the crew. She has skill with numbers, skill with supplies, but I don't think she has the personality and the personage to be a first mate.
Mulls that over for a moment.
Nor has she been at my side giving me sage advice at key times.
Sandra smiles. It is not my advice that I have given you, Captain Caius. It is the Lady of the Sea who speaks through me. Though you worship the great Lord of Hell, the Lady of the Sea does look after you, as she looks after us all.
All deities have their place.
Nods. She looks out at the crew, and we see some familiar faces. We've got Master Gunner Elliot, who he's been obsessed with these new guns, just absolutely obsessed. He has been looking at them, trying to understand them, working with them, practicing, etc. Like, there's been a couple of moments where he's fired off a couple rounds, like out into the bay, just having a good time. Cutthroat Grok is obviously just working on getting supplies through some of the longboats off the shore, from the shore onto the boat, repairs, etc. But we actually see a couple of new characters. We've got a catfolk, black cat fur. This gentleman right here. He's a Captain Kitty. Well, not a captain, but he's just Mr. Kitty, as it were. And he is the new boatswain. He's the boatswain. And he's taken on the role very well. You found him. Actually on the shore. He was one of the folks that requested to be part of the crew. And he's been taking his job very seriously, and the crew seems to be respecting him very well. And he's calling out orders and giving, commands and whatnot. We also have another gentleman, Master at Arms, Sergeant. He's got a long name, Sergeant Gareth Marine. You called him
Marian?
Marian, Sergeant Gareth Marian. He is a hobgoblin. He is a hobgoblin. And the crew seems a little uncomfortable with him, but that uncomfortableness is turning to them whenever he gives a command. They just do what he says, right? He is your master at arms, as it were. And then we see, obviously, Owlbear. And ever since the fight, Owlbear has been a little quiet, a little reserved, not buying as much, and his sentence structure has become more than just a couple of words. He's actually speaking in full sentences. And it almost seems as though working with Sandra Quinn, she's been helping teach him how to read, how to write, how to speak in proper English, as it were. Common. Teldoran is what common is. But he just seems distracted, perhaps. He's very distracted. He's kind of always looking out at the sea, always looking out at the open water. That's always where he is lately. But we pivot back over to Sandra and Jew. And she nods and looks over to you again, Captain Caius. What next, Captain? We have done the impossible. We have taken a prize that no pirate, not even the pirate lords themselves, thought possible, probable. Wasn't even on their minds.
Profitable. I'm sure they had the capability if they put their minds to it, but...
Perhaps. But none were brave enough. None were crazy enough to do such a thing. What next? What do we do now?
We made an agreement with Lady Tessa Fairwind in order to secure a free captaincy and a shot at the regatta. We're going to be hunting down some spies, it seems. Evidently, there's a potentially implanted Chalaxian spy network in the Shackles.
Looks a little disconcerted. Do we know who this is?
We weren't given any information yet aside from that. We'll have to meet her at some point. So I want to get the ship up to crew. I want to get it repaired. I want to get the crew trained and acclimated to each other, and then we'll set off on that mission.
Says, so be it. Well, I am at your command, of course, Captain. But I'm going to make sure that the ship is ship-shape before we leave. She
I appreciate that. If you could do one thing, actually.
He stops 5 feet from you.
Owlbear seems ill at ease. You could attach him to Master Murian. I think some formal training at arms would do him well to take his mind off of that, something he can attach himself to.
She looks a little disconcerted by that suggestion. Master Murian has been with us for a few weeks now. He has a harshness to him, Captain. Are you quite sure that his type of training will do Owlbear will do the type of good that you're hoping it will.
I think the Master at Arms understands that there's an art to combat. And I think that Owlbear could learn to paint, and I think it would do his mind good.
With your permission, I will do as you command, of course. But I would like to watch them closely. He has made great leaps and bounds in becoming more of a person than an animal. I don't want to lose the progress we've made.
I think that would be for the best.
Thank you, Captain. She goes off to discuss and make the introductions with them. Buccaneer. Afternoon. Couple weeks you've been in Quent. Where would you be on the Dominator? I know you mentioned you wanted to be on the Dominator. Where would you be?
I probably would be talking to the crew that we have acquired.
Okay.
Quote unquote.
So we're going to pivot down to the second deck. Okay? And on the second deck, there are mostly crew quarters, guns, etc.
Yeah.
But there is a new character. Who is... he seems almost to be made of the ship. Like, he blends in if you're not actually looking at him. He looks like he is, like, his coloring is kind of the color of the wood. His hair, like, looks like rope. He just seems really attached to this thing. And, you know, you've been talking with some of the crew that you brought on. And you almost, like, you go to sit down at the table and you almost sit on him. And then you realize he's there. And he doesn't move. He doesn't start. But as you sit down, you kind of bump into him. And he's got a coin. A little silver coin. It's got the couple symbols of Chilaxia on it. And he just kind of picks it up, spins it, and then just obsessively stares down and just watches it do that little spin and then wobble. Then it stops, and he counts to 1, 2, 3, picks it up, spins it again, just watches it.
Helmet, and what was your name again there, sailor?
Lots of names. Names are... let's come and go. Names are... Names. The ship. Ship's name, the Dominator. The Dominator is the name of the ship. Ship is Dominator, and the ship is home. Ship is all we've ever known. Ship. Which name do you seek?
Your name, of course. What name? What are you driving at?
All of them just called me. They called me Personales? How did you say it?
Personales.
Personales. You can just call me Les. Les is what everyone called me on the ship. The captain called me Les. New captain, new crew, same ship, always. Always the same ship. Ship is home, ship is life. Ship sinks, we sink. Ship sails, we go where the ship sails take us. Picks up the coin again, spins it.
Master Personales, Les. How long have you been aboard?
That question, as you ask it, he is watching the coin spin and it's just starting to wobble. And he takes his hand and he slaps it down. Just slaps it down hard. Really, really, really hard on the deck. Just like super hard on the deck. And as he does that, there's kind of this ringing noise that echoes through the entire deck. And he looks over at you, Buccaneer, and there's this kind of glassy-eyed. His eyes are kind of foggy. Always. Always been on the ship. Ship is home. Ship is everything Les has ever known. Always.
What do you do here?
What needs doing?
I
Needs
mean,
done.
What's your main job?
Lots of jobs. Do what needs doing. Do what needs getting done.
Do you work the guns?
And work the guns if need be.
Trying to think if I have a spell that I can utilize to kind of bust through his things. Oh, discern lies. So I'll cast discern lies.
Okay. He
I'm
doesn't even
concentrating-
flinch. He doesn't even flinch as you cast a spell before him. He just watches you. Just watches you. And as your spell activates, he's not lying. Telling the truth. He's worked the guns before. He has.
Where are you from? You have the look of what's the continent to the south of?
Well, there's the Mwangi Expanse
Yeah,
down there, but there's a lot of different places in
Avestan?
Mwangi.
yes, the one that's south of Avestan, the one where
Yeah.
The Garrett.
the
Gara
Mwangi and
something?
Garund and Nex and all
This is
that.
the Gurundi. Yep.
All right. So he looks more like a Mwangi.
Yeah. Looks like he might be from Mwangi Expanse. Yeah, absolutely. He could be from. I mean, realistically, he could be from the Kava lands, Sargava, maybe.
Okay.
He could be from the greater. He could even be from maybe the Sodden lands, that were absorbed and flooded out by the Eye of Abendango. Lots of different places he could be from. But he says, and this is with your discern lies up. He simply says, "Would you believe me if I said I didn't remember? Spent so many of my years aboard this ship that I can't remember much of anything else. But I'm a good crew member. I'm a strong. I work hard. I do my duty. I do my part. Make sure the ship keeps sailing. Make sure the powder is dry and clean. Keep the guns firing. Kept the guns firing against you. Didn't work though. Didn't work.
If I have a detect spell, that's magic. First, we would have detect. Yeah, I'm gonna do detect law on him.
Okay.
I'm just trying to see if he's lawful.
All right. Do it up. Roll them bones.
I don't know if there's anything.
He is registering as lawful. It's a moderate aura of law.
Okay. He's been around for so long.
Yeah.
All right.
Long time.
I'll leave him be and go find another crew member of the ship and ask him about personales.
Okay. So as you ask around the crew, any of the former Dominator crew members that joined the crew when they were given the choice of that or be sacrificed to Asmodeus, they all just say he's always been there. He's been there for a long time, and no one remembers when he joined. Just, when I joined the crew, he was here, and he was old. He's just been here for a long time. Some call him like, he's like the heart of the ship. He's just always there. He's always there when you need him, kind of thing. A little weird.
Ship's mascot, so to speak.
Kinda. Yeah, it's kind of like the ship's mascot. I like that. But we're going to pivot over, away from Walkir. We're going to pivot over to Harlan. Where would Harlan be, perhaps?
Let's see. Well, I believe, refresh my memory, Blau, Caius had some modifications he had wanted the ship to have done, right?
No, I was just saying
Or
that
do we just-
the forecastle cabin was a good place for Harlan because it has access to the open air at the front of the deck you could take off from.
Yeah. So he might probably overseeing a couple slight modifications on the Dominator just because he has to accommodate for this fucking big ass bird now.
Double doors.
Yeah, overseeing some repairs. Yeah, double doors. But he is just kind of thrilled with the whole being able to, sail just such a massive ship, just exploring what is effectively Gozer's territory at the helm of such a fine and mighty steed.
Like that. So you are working on the the bow of the ship. You're having some modifications done to allow a giant bird to land and perhaps roost in the front of the ship. And as you are working on this, you hear what you think is a hiss from right above your head. This kind of just kind of like cat's hiss. And Blackbeak kind of looks up, and he's large size or huge size now?
He's large.
Size.
He's large.
Right,
he's
large size. I love that. And as you look up, you see a new face. You see a new face who is, well, who's one of the new officers. This is Nimkas. Nimkas, the catfolk. He is the boatswain, as it were. And let me just move you over here really quick, Commander. And all right, we're gonna pivot over as you look up, and you see this. He's very finely dressed, well appointed. He's got he's a black cat with sort of a dark clothing. He's got a dark hat on, and he's looking down at the bird, and the bird's just kind of like scooching down, trying out his new little roost, kind of stretching his wings, kind of flaps them a little bit, and you just hear this almost instinctual kind of low growl come from the cat, which I think is funny, personally. But he doesn't say anything right away. Would Harlan respond to his machinations, as it were, or simply ignore it at this point?
He might, turn around, cock an eyebrow. Can I help you with something?
Oh, I had a voice for him. Give me 1 second. I got all these new characters. I gotta get ready.
Yes, there is something I wish to speak with you about. Is this thing, this bird, is this permanent resident on the ship, or someone that comes and goes?
Blackbeak is a valuable member of the crew, and under my personal jurisdiction. Why do you ask?
I realize that this may be, playing into stereotypes, but big birds make me uncomfortable.
Well, to be fair, Blackbeak makes quite a few people uncomfortable. Wait till you see him maul a man to death. But makes you uncomfortable specifically why? Have you had a bad experience with birds in your life?
He kind of scratches his shoulder, and it almost seems like he's maybe like itching an old wound in this moment. And
let me just say that I had a run-in with a big rock at one point. It nearly ate me alive. This bird, it reminds me of this rock. May I ask you a favor, Commander?
By all means.
Keep that fucking thing away from me.
Blackbeak is well trained and has not attacked any of the crew. As so far yet. Once you see what he can do in battle, then trust me, you'll be glad he's around. May even save your life one day. Pluck you out of the ocean in a moment of need.
You see his fur kind of poof up a little bit when you mention a pluck out of the ocean. And two things, he's like,
it may come to surprise you, Commander, but I don't care for swimming. Also, I understand cats and stereotypes. Swimming and birds both make me uncomfortable, yet being on a ship, open ocean, is exhilarating. Perhaps it is facing your fears that gives me a breath of life that I did not experience on dry land. Am I making sense, Commander?
I've been shipwrecked twice, and I hate swimming too, even though I am a follower of Gozra. So, yes, I understand. But Belay your fears about Blackbeak. He is, well, a special creature. Let's put it that way.
Well,
You don't have to watch your back. In time, I'm sure you'll come to appreciate his presence, like I said.
stranger things have happened, Commander.
Stranger things have happened indeed.
I did not come here, though, simply to discuss your bird friend. The new cook, what was his name? Ajax. He actually requested your presence in the galley, as it were. He mentioned to me that you're the one that is handling logistics for the ship.
All right. I will see him as soon as I'm able. Thank you for
Blackbeak,
letting me know.
like lets out a like a loud squawk. You see the cat like jump, take a couple steps back.
Fucking bird.
And he moves back down towards the stern of the deck. But Harlan, do you head down to the galley, as it were?
The cook? Yeah, he'll go and see the cook.
Excellent. So as you head down to the galley, we're going to introduce a brand new character who is Ajax. And you walk into the galley, and the first thing you see is there is a massive iron, looks like an iron stove, like cast iron stove. But there's a problem. The cast iron stove has a cannon, like has a cannonball that is like dented into the side of it. And what it looks like is you see that one of the cannons on the port side, left side of the ship, is turned the wrong way. So what appears happened is one of the volleys that you guys did might have blown the cannon around, and it lodged a cannonball in the side of the main cooking apparatus for the ship. All right. And over the last couple weeks, you guys have simply been surviving on rations and what have you. Was Caius able to wrangle any doubles for long term? Probably, Captain Caius. Probably. We'll deal with that when we get to Nisara here in a little bit, because she's going to come back with some news. But as you walk in, you see him just kind of scratching his head, and he kind of kicks the big cast iron stove, and he goes, "Well, this is just not gonna do. Oh boy, when we run out of rations, this crew's gonna be real pissed off. Let me tell. Oh, Mr. Harlan, isn't it?
Yes.
Was it a German accent you said for him?
Yeah. I mean, I'm fine either
No.
way. Just you do
No.
you.
He coughs. He goes, sorry. Yeah, so, hello, my name is Ajax. This is the only German accent I can do, so we're going to do it.
So very comfy, yeah.
Yeah, it's so crazy. It's so crazy right now. But, I wanted to talk with you about, perhaps reconnoitering, some new stove here. As you can see, it is broken. And I'm going to stop doing this accent now because it is stupid. And so he's just pointing at the cast iron stove. And we see the stove is busted. But he also mentions to you, but I'm also to understand that you can cast a little magic. You wouldn't happen to have the ability to fix this thing, would you?
Harlan takes a good look at it. And it's like, well, we'd have to get the cannonball out first, but I might be able to mend it. At least enough to get it functional. And then we can perhaps look at replacing it with something better. Should
Well, if we
the
work
funds be
together,
available.
perhaps the both of us can put it out. Let's give it a try. Sorry.
Sure.
Let's have you both make a strength check
Oh,
and
boy.
see what happens. I'm
All right.
excited. Let's see what happens. All right, hold on. +2.
Well, here's the real question: with all the cannonball or the cannons and everything else, there should be some type of like pry bar or something.
Oh yeah,
you
you can get a +2 from like a crowbar. Try and get this
Okay.
cannonball out.
Let's
see what happens.
Let's see what we got
The
here.
ship is redonkulous, by the way. So you
Hold
rolled
on.
a
18, so 20.
and he gives you a +2. He actually gives you a +2, which is absolutely freaking fantastic. So the two of you wrench it out. Cannonball drops to the floor and then starts like rolling around, and you both try to like catch it and finally stop it in place. And he nods and he thanks you, and he goes, "Ah, thanks. Well, if you can get a wizard or a sorcerer or some sort of magic mumbo jumbo down here, goes far Just to get all like the other movies with a gate. That's funny. But he thanks you for your help, and unless you have anything else to say to him, he's gonna get back to trying to figure out how to cook for this crew.
No, I can't think of anything because unfortunately, mending only works on small objects. It doesn't work on big ones.
That is true.
But he'll pull out a piece of parchment, write down. Cook requests a new stove. Previous one destroyed by a cannonball. And he'll pocket that and be sure to bring that up to see, is Cutthroat our quartermaster since she didn't make first mate?
Cutthroat Grok is the quartermaster. Yes, she
Okay.
is. That
He
is
will
true.
Make sure to hand that off to her at first chance he sees her.
Love it. Absolutely love it. All right, so I'm going to open the floor to the crew. Who has some scenes they would like to have? I know Caius had some things with Nasara we could do. Any requests from the crew at this point? 3,
Other
2,
than
1.
handling that meeting with Jade.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, I think the Nasara stuff's pretty important. So.
I believe right now, I think the only thing that I need to do is get a new mast because we lost one of them.
It's part of the
in the
repairs
fight.
that are happening.
Okay, it's
part of the
happening?
repairs.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. It's part of the repairs. Yeah. Part of the
Should
repairs happening.
relatively be good.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm
Beautiful.
sure as big as Quent
beautiful.
does, there shouldn't be a problem.
Beautiful.
Right.
All right, let's do this. We got that. We got this. Chips, cook. Save. Perfect. Okay. So, Captain Caius, your little companion, she returned. She returned with news, and she was gone for several weeks. After
Much
the fight.
longer than expected.
Yeah, much longer than expected. Like, she was gone, and like she is just returning, and it was actually at the point where like maybe you're starting to get a little worried, kind of thing. All right, but she
He
returned.
could. Never mind. He can summon her to his side once a day.
Yeah, absolutely. What's interesting is you attempted to summon her to your side at one point, didn't work, which is interesting. Yeah, strange, right? But she returns, and you are in your fantastically appointed big old captain's cabin. It is super nice,
Yeah.
super nice. Look at this thing. Look at all this. Look at all this. It's beautiful, absolutely beautiful. You love it. Look at that. It's very nice, fancy. But you actually hear her, and she's small size now, correct?
It's
Beautiful. So you actually hear this sort of soft little tapping, little like hooved feet, and you hear her address you. Captain Caius, I have returned.
Oh, you're alive.
Yes. Alive. I took your news, your request. I went to several of the temples and cathedrals to our Lord Asmodeus. It would appear that things in Cheliax are uneasy, Captain.
Oh.
And Sarah doesn't often look nervous, but she has a very nervous expression. You know, she's not one to show fear, but she is choosing her words carefully. It's almost as though she's nervous she's going to upset you right now. And as you notice that, would you respond or simply let her sort of flounder here in this moment?
No, he'd absolutely let her flounder.
You are a monster, and I love that. So she flounders for a few moments.
The government of Cheliax is taking away some of the religious freedoms the Church of Asmodeus. It would appear the government thinks they know best, and the Church is trying simply to survive. I was able to meet with a high priest in the capital. I mentioned the amulet you had, and he said he would be interested in purchasing it from us. But what disconcerted me, what I found disconcerting, Captain, was I think he intends to use the devil inside. Don't know if that is the best idea, Captain.
You only found the one buyer?
He nods. Everyone else was afraid. Afraid to even speak with me. The government of Cheliax is preparing for something very big. I saw a massive fleet in the harbor. Hundreds, thousands of troops being prepared. I know not where they intend to sail, but they are preparing for an invasion, sir.
And what exactly took you weeks to deliver letters?
She does not readily answer you and takes a visible step back on the table. Like, she's on the table and she sort of like steps it back and it's now just hovering in the air. She doesn't seem to want to answer that question.
I would hate to have to go to Lorcon about you reneging on our contract.
No reneging, sir. I was captured. Captured and held. And then released. No, not why I was released, but I was held.
One second. Looking one thing up real quick. Okay. Caius will simply say, go into the city, find yourself a scroll of non-detection, learn it, cast it upon yourself every day from now on.
As you command, master.
I fear the only reason they would have released you is as the censor for a scrying, the subject for a scrying ritual.
I am sorry, Captain. Master.
Need to be more careful in the future.
We'll never
I sent
make this
you
mistake
a
again.
devil to Cheliax to get the job done. Now we'll need to contact Lorcon. I'm not sure if I want to deal with someone willing to employ the Shadow Angel.
I understand, sir.
And she floats back a little bit, turns invisible. Hear one of the windows at the stern of the ship open and then close, and she's gone. But
Just a couple of things. She no longer has invisibility at will. She no longer flies. But she has a greater teleport at will.
well, she'll just disappear. Teleport. Like that. All right. Good to know. Good to know. So we're just gonna... Blah, 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 blah. She disappears. Teleporting away.
Yeah, no, that's why I was like, why did it take you weeks to get to Cheliax with the greater teleport? Wait a minute here.
Yeah.
Wait a minute here.
Yeah.
Hold.
Not good. Not good.
No.
But,
and Caius would at that point, later,
Mhm.
begin trying to contact Lorcon with the news of the Shadow Angel amulet, or whoever, whatever middle management Caius has direct access to.
Yeah.
In order to try and get a different deal with the Shadow Angel amulet, because doesn't exactly trust someone wanting to use it.
I respect that.
Oh, what was the sum offered though? Was the all terms in the thing met?
Your asking price was how much? Remind me, Captain.
He would be asking for the full value of the amulet of plates.
They offered you 75%.
And in the letter, he asked A to be appointed the bishop of the Shackles, because there's no Asmodean establishment here.
Uh-huh.
He wanted a stipend to establish, basically to maintain the lifestyle of a bishop and establish a church.
Mm-hmm.
And he asked for the price of the amulet.
They offered 75% of the amulet, and that is all they offered.
Fuck him.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Love that. So we're gonna cut.
I mean, he'll he'll bring it to the group
Yeah.
if they want that money, but I think we're better off getting some extra planar power out of Lorcan than the
Yeah.
money out of
I like it.
Kelly-X.
I like it. I like it. I like it. So we're gonna cut to several hours later, and Edward, you were approached by this woman, this sort of calypso kind of type person, right? And she mentioned she needed to speak with you and the captain, right? And that she didn't tell you why, just it was something very important. And as you had mentioned, she sort of just showed up and just sort of started working on your ship. Didn't bother anybody, but she approached you and she, seemed to really want to talk to you about some things. So I'd like to cut over to the newly meeting room that we have aboard the Man of War, the Dominator. Very nice. There's so many nice rooms on this ship.
Yeah.
It's so many nice rooms. You've got it's got a little like balcony off the back. Like it's fancy, okay? Who would you guys have in important meetings of your officers? Obviously the commanders would be there, but who else would you guys have?
I would have Harper.
Love that.
I think Sandra Quinn as well, and then from there it would get disseminated, I think, from
Like
this group.
Yeah. I think that's enough. We got the first mates, we got the two commanders, and then the two captains. That's who we meet. It's a lot of empty chairs, but that's okay. So, Edward, this is a meeting that you guys have been having every couple of days just to sort of keep everyone up to date of what's happening. You've kind of gotten to a lull in the conversation. A lot of logistics. Hey, we've got the wood here, we've got the planks we need, etc. But we've come to a point where there's a little bit of a lull where you can bring up the fact that this somewhat strange, sort of witch-like lady had approached you saying she wanted to speak with you. How would you bring that up to the captain? Commodore.
Edward's pulling out his pipe. He's getting his tobacco pushed in. And he'd clear his throat, gain everyone's attention, and then lean over and grab one of the candles off the table and use that to light his pipe, and then hand it to Harper.
Classic. He does the same.
And
Captain.
And then he would present this. So, I have a new head upon my ship. You've all noticed her. Says her name's Jade. The Blackweather, Harper?
Yeah, that's right, Captain.
So, she says she needs counsel. You and me, Caius. I told her I'd bring it to you, but she said it was urgent.
I suppose there's no harm in letting her in. Worst she's going to do is try and assassinate us.
She could wait till we're drunk for that. Papa.
First she didn't.
Papa, would you go gather her, please?
To command. Gets up, leaves, leaving you guys a few moments to talk. Sandra addresses Captain Caius. Captain, I understand that Petthorpe mentioned we should have the repairs mostly done in the next few days. Have you set up a meeting with Lady Fairwind? Are we to begin this investigation of this supposed spy ring immediately? Are there other things we ought to do, Captain? I mean...
I'm playing for time at the moment. If she wants me, she'll hunt me down.
Let them stew with the fact that they have the Dominator in their bay. Let them think on that. No need to shake anybody, but let's everybody know that we are the ones who took it.
The infamy builds.
Infamy does build. So, you guys make some small talk. Shoot the shit a little bit.
So, question to you, Sandra. Any problems with you taking first mate over Grok, or did you come to an understanding? Or is that going to be an issue?
you know that Sandra is very good with the crew. Everyone likes her. She fixes their boo-boos. She uplifts them. She is a genuinely nice person. Like, she's so nice that sometimes people wonder why she's a pirate, kind of thing, right? But no
Right.
one disrespects her. No one thinks she's weak. Usually when she's asked a question, she just gives you a smile and, as the Lady of the Sea, wills it. But she looks sad. Looks sad at that question. That is a difficult question to answer. But Cutthroat Grok and Fishguts were close.
Aye.
Thick as thieves, as it were. Prior to his death, she was gunning. She was gunning for a opportunity to advance in the ranks of a pirate crew. But since his death, she has become a bit despondent. She seems more resigned to her lot in life. I had considered addressing and bringing it. I had considered talking to her about it. But perhaps the crewmate who got the job she wanted isn't the best one to talk to her. I have seen this happen before among other crews when a dear friend is lost in battle. Those that survive can sometimes lose the will to live. They become ghosts of their former selves. I'm not saying she's at that point, but I think she is at risk of going there. I don't know if that answers your question, Edward, but that is my answer.
It's the long and the short of it.
I think that falls under Walkier's department, ultimately.
I'm not trying to overstep you, Captain. I just wanted to make sure that that wouldn't be an issue.
No, it's an excellent question.
Because we all know how her temper could be sometimes, so. Well. Saddens me slightly to hear that, but. Just have to drag her back, I suppose. Where the fuck is her?
Ultimately, I'd
Jesus
hate to lose her as a fighter. But there aren't a shortage of people that can work a ledger.
Anywhere you like, lass. Anywhere you like. And the woman, this Jade, steps in the room. And as she steps in the room, she actually crouches low and just sort of looks around the room as though she's really just kind of drinking it all in. And then on all fours, she kind of like creeps over. And she's looking around, looking around, looking around. And then she goes under the table. And as she goes under the table, Harper's just like, what in the nine hells is she? And then you hear some scraping, bit of scratching. And then you hear what sounds like a piece of wood or a piece of the table, like, break free. And you hear some rustling of papers. And then you hear something slide back into place. She climbs back up, and she's holding a scroll in her hand. And she walks over to Harper. And as she walks over to Harper, she hands it to him, then sits down next to him. Harper's like,
A secret compartment in our meeting table.
unfoils it.
Edward has that kind of. She just kind of appeared, just kind of. I don't. She just appeared on the ship.
Well, you are docked.
I did not appear on your ship. I was on board the Dominator. But then I went to your ship. So I suppose you could say I did appear, Captain. And Captain. And Commanders.
and first mate. My name is Jade, and I am a friend. You could call me a friend. Tessa Fairwind. You could say she is my true captain, but I was captured. I was captured by the Dominator. They sunk the ship I was on. But I have been looking into things, poking in places. You should open that, Harper. Harper's like, what? And he starts to unfurl it. And then he's like, starts to read. And you just see his face, Edward. And everyone at the table sees his face as he starts to read what's on this scroll. Starts to read it. And he's like, oh, shit. And as he's reading it, he hands it to Edward. Edward, a quick skim of this. You see that this is a communique that was likely to be sent back to Cheliax. There is a lot of information here about how many ships are in different ports, where certain pirate lords keep their fleets, movements, relationships between people. This is like a dossier. And what is perhaps slightly disconcerting is that as you look at the letter, you see Jade say, and I don't mean to make you feel more uncomfortable. That is a copy. The original has already reached Cheliax. Do you understand the implications of this information?
Fuck me. Oh, Caius, we have a problem.
Chelaxians have the means to make a move now, the intelligence to do so.
Make a move? What do you mean make a move?
Sara informed me they're amassing a fleet. Soldiers.
Oh, fuck me. This has everybody on it. We are on this list. And we were keeping a low fucking profile for the most part.
Tessa wasn't lying to us then.
Here is what I will say, Captain. She addresses Caius. This is but a piece of the information. And, as luck would have it, it is a bit out of date. As you can see, when it mentions you, it simply mentions the devil's, pardon me, the bastard's hand. There is a ring of spies that exists inside the Shackles. They are working to unravel, to weaken the pirates' hold on the Shackles. Tessa has instructed me to work with you to find and unravel the unravelers. You see, I am a collector of information, both mundane and arcane. This information is... And she, starts to kind of climb on the table. And you see her, knock the table, a couple times, and shakes her head. This information is both mundane and arcane, and of great importance. However, the issue is, captains and commanders and Mr. Harper, we do not know who to trust. In fact, there could be Chelaxian spies among the crew you have brought on the ship. For all you know, I could be a spy, but it is unlikely. And she laughs at that joke. So,
I shrugs and says, I could have sleight of handed that scroll out of your pocket under that table. I wasn't watching.
I could have. So, I encourage you, Captain Caius, to meet with Tessa Fairwind, or at least to message her, to confirm who I am. But we, together, once you do this, we must unravel. We must find... And she, makes this, cutting motion and cut out this cancer inside the Shackles. Pirates rule the Shackles. The Chelaxians have no place here. they will try to take it from us. What we have earned, what we have fought for, what we have died for and bled for, they will attempt to take it from us. But if we find and kill their spies, their advantage shall be weakened.
Edward slams a hand on the table, just kind of ending her statement there. This information does not leave this room. None of it. Because from everything that I just read to that, and heard from Caius, war's coming. So,
That way.
seems to me, first step, we got some spies that need hanging. Harper,
Captain?
get a letter to Miss Fairwinds. Make sure Jade's story checks out.
Aye, sir.
Oh, no offense, lass.
None offense taken, Captain.
Do have plenty of new people on the ship that's heartily volunteered. Could be a problem.
I make a suggestion, captains and commanders. As the Captain Edward said, none of this information leaves this room. And we should be very careful about everyone aboard. Everyone could be a spy, save those you trust most. Even them, there's always a chance. And she almost seems a little excited by that, in a weird kind of fucked up way.
It's like a bigger Narissa. Fuck.
I think Narissa can plug the holes we have among the ship if there are any. Nasara, sorry. You got me.
All right, it's good.
But that's not going to work on a whole harbor. Nor is it going to work on anyone we don't have influence over.
No. So,
We need someone with influence who can influence people. I've got a suggestion.
No. Nasara can work on memories. She can modify what people remember. So even if some of these men are spies, they won't necessarily remember it after she's done working on them. We just need to get the Chilaxians all into a room with her.
Well, I will see myself to the brig till you can confirm my story. Until then, keep your eyes open. And she stands up and like presents her arms to be shackled. And Harper looks to Edward like, do I put shackles on her?
I've
Put her
had
in
it.
the brig.
Say again, Caius?
So just put her in the brig. She's going to walk down there willingly. There's no reason to shackle her.
And he will escort her to the brig, as it were. But as the 5 of you are still there, any additional conversation you guys want to have about what's just been revealed to you?
Are we gonna have to go sail to Cheliax and kick some butt?
I don't think you want to do that.
I don't
As
think
Game
we'd make
Master.
that voyage.
I think you could try that. It would be a very short campaign. Like, we sail past the Eye of Amadengo, we get there, and there's 500 ships.
Oh
Yikes.
no! What
we
we'll do
lose.
is we'll just transition into Hell's Rebels or
But I don't want to be a rebel.
Council of Thieves.
That's really funny.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that.
So, we have plenty of new people we now need to watch our backs on.
Until they're vetted by
Until they're
Nasara.
vetted. We have plenty of new people at Tidewater. Need to be vetted as well. We have
Tidewater's-
a whole city full of strangers. And now we have what sounds to be an armada making its way here. Fixing myself a drink.
And Caius gestures to the the wall by the door and says, "There's a lot of Chilaxian free liquor right there."
Edward is going to grab one.
Literally, there's like a wine rack right there.
The most like the fanciest bottle he can find.
Yeah, there's like a Asmodean brew or something like super fancy. Yeah, it's good. You know what's really nice about this? That little spiral staircase right there goes right up to the captain's cabin. Yeah. It's so fancy. This ship is so fancy. I'm very excited for you guys. Super nice. So a day goes by. Tessa Fairwind reaches out, actually suggests that she meets you on the Dominator because she wants to see it. Like, she's impressed that you got it. And she confirms the story of the witch. She confirms Jade's story. That she is one of her spies, as it were, that was working to try and uncover what's going on. She thought her dead when she found out that the ship had been captured by the Dominator. And it's pleased she's alive. A little confused why she didn't reach out to her. But, you know, Jade's a weird duck, is what she says. She's a weird lady. But Tessa will meet with you guys. And we're gonna kind of do this a little bit of theater of the mind, as it were. But when Tessa meets with you, she confirms everything that she knows, that Jade had mentioned, that this is what she's been trying to uncover. However, rather than starting to try to unravel this right away, she has a counter suggestion. So we are once again in the large meeting room just underneath the captain's cabin. And Tessa has just been, you know, she had a tour of the ship, super impressed, compliments you guys on how well you did. She said if you didn't have your own fleet, she'd hire you, kind of thing. Like, you know, if you weren't planning to try and become your own, basically admiral at your own right, she would definitely hire you. But she is, you've been talking about some of the spies, this potentially impending invasion from Cheliax. She finally says, Captain, there is something we must do prior to beginning to unravel the spy network. We need to make you official. You need to be recognized among the Shackles as a true free captain. You may not be a pirate lord, but to be a free captain, be recognized officially by the Pirate Council. It will give you access to areas that you have previously been unable to access. It will also put you even more so into the eye of the Chilaxian spies, which I believe will work to our advantage as we try to figure out who can be trusted. And then you see Jade has been eyeballing, like, she's been sitting next to Wakir, and she's just been eyeballing Wakir the whole time. There's this like weird, like, doesn't brush her teeth, like the black tarriness on her teeth, and she's just been smiling at Wakir for like 15 minutes. Just awkward smile at him from her. But she says, who can be trusted? So, this is what we must do. I will sponsor you as a potential free captain. I know that there are other free captains that would do the same. But we must travel to Port Peril together. We'll bring a fleet, 6 ships, your 2 included and 4 of mine. And you will present yourself before the pirate lords. You will present yourself as a potential free captain. I will be your second. There was also, what was his name? The other gentleman, the pirate lord, who mentioned that he would support you as well. I believe.
Not lord, I don't believe.
I don't think it was a lord. I think it was just one free captain. It
Mr.
was
Free Captain.
Kegsworthy.
Kegsworthy.
Yep.
Ariel Kegsworthy.
If needed, I'm sure that he will be your third. And Sedistro just gave you guys a +5 to any rolls that you have. You're good, man,
Hey.
Sedistro. But she says there will be trials, tests that you will have to undergo. Assuming you pass these tests, which I assume you will, you'll be granted the right as a free captain to plunder, sail, to go where and when and where you please. Once this is done, then our agreement, my request,
that is when you will start the unraveling. Is this acceptable to you, Captain?
Acceptable to me. We have a couple of matters to take care of, but I think they can be handled during the voyage.
Very good. So, what final things would you guys want to do in Quent prior to heading off and traveling for Peril?
Caius would certainly, like I said, handle the recruiting.
Mhm.
Throw a big old bash for anyone who survived taking the Dominator.
Mhm.
He wants to get the Dominator spick and span back to how it looked under the Shackles military. Not dinged up, not, pirate shit looking, but, Royal Navy standards.
Very nice. It's done. Do you get like clothing? Do you get like uniforms for your crew?
Caius already did before they left.
That's brilliant.
He bought a hat, a coat, and a set of crimson dyed studded leather for every man.
That is amazing. They look so nice. They're like fancy pirates. So good.
Yeah.
Then we got Edward over there, which is his like, mishmatch crew.
Yeah, just my litter of misfits.
I love it. I love it.
To be fair, he bought them coats and everything as well, but they're obviously welcome to wear it under at his discretion. And before they leave, Caius wants to get the soul gems he got from the Chilaxians that did not join the crew and begin bargaining with devils for long-term contracts for these soul gems and future soul gems of taken prizes.
What do you want to bargain for, Caius?
Marines. He wants the service of the devils.
Ooh, what kind of devils?
Either bearded devils or Irini, just
right.
like soldier types.
So I'm gonna be honest with you. You didn't get a lot of soul gems because as soon as you did like 4 of them, 5 of them, the rest of the crew is like, we don't want to be turned into soul gems. So you have like
fair enough.
6. Here's what I'm gonna say. Those are pretty good souls, right?
To be fair,
Be fair.
they would have been given the choice, and then the consequences would have started.
You're a monster. All right, let's do this. 3d6. Roll me 3d6, Captain
Oh,
Caius.
shit.
12. You can bargain for half a dozen. 6 bearded devils. Oh, plus... technically plus 5. Because Distro did give you a plus 5. So you actually
17.
get 17. All right? You can bargain for 9 bearded devils that agree to, because of these soul gems, serve you once a month. Once a month they'll show up in combat for you. Once a month. That is their offer.
Done.
Done? Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. And now I'm going to have bearded devils. I think I have devils? I'll have to make bearded devils tokens. Remind me. We'll have it. We probably won't need them
All right.
today. But you
No,
have,
probably not.
you literally have bearded devil marines that will show up
And-
when you need them.
And
once a month.
and they show up like that.
Like, you have to do a summoning, which will be a full round action, and then they arrive. It's kind of like summon monster. All right, but you can summon. How should we do this? How do you suggest, Caius? I'm open to it. I'm open to suggestions.
Well, the reason Caius wants some bearded devils, he wants some of them on hand permanently, like just around the ship.
Okay.
Because they, just like the Marines and the Royal Navy operate, they keep the officers safe from the crew.
Ooh.
Their insulation against mutant.
Okay. Oh, that's a good one.
So it's a different faction among the ship that has different interests than the rest of the crew of the pirate ship.
Okay. Oh man.
So ideally, they'd sit around, but they're willing to help in a combat a month.
Yeah.
So they're on the ship, but they're willing to help out, once a month, once every 2 weeks, whatever we work out.
Oh.
The The other thing Caius will say is if you only help in one combat a month, you only get to pay for one combat a month. The soul gems for that combat. The rest will go towards recruiting other devils. That said, I'll help out in more combats. If you, say, agree to fight in every prize we take, you'll get your share of the soul gems from every prize.
All right. Here's my devil's bargain. 6 permanent, and they're willing to fight in every combat.
Yeah, I'll take that.
All right, cool. Goddamn. I'm gonna regret all of this. I will. I promise you. I'm
I
gonna
mean,
regret all of
they're gonna rapidly fall behind.
Oh, absolutely. All right, so we are gonna have on
That
the
said,
ship character.
That said, they're gonna rapidly terrorize the shit out of a crew of CR2, CR1, and 2 pirates as CR6 bearded devils.
Bearded Devil Marines. I'm adding them to the character sheets right now. Mother of God. Mother of God. What have I done? What have I done? I don't know. I've created a monster, gentlemen. I've created a monster, but I love it. Absolutely love
And
it.
I think the
Caius-
monster created himself. Let's
He
be
did.
fair.
And Caius will be here at the meeting once everyone else has left. Tessa and the witch have left.
Yeah.
And he'll bring to the commanders and the other captain.
Mhm.
I received a return offer from Cheliax.
Oh, for the
With the amulet,
yeah.
75% of the asking price of the initial artifact.
The other
Or
things.
we could. They didn't. They either don't have the power to grant them or they don't want to.
Oh, well, fuck them then.
75% of 120,000 gold pieces is nothing to scoff at.
I feel the butts coming on.
Or we can try and negotiate with Lorcan, my patron, for a less material reward. I'm sure he could say, grant Walkir additional spell slots, perhaps physically enhance Edward and I, perhaps do something to bless Blackbeak. I'm not sure what he could do. But I'm sure he
So-
could do something along those lines.
So we're just gonna get the money and then they lock the amulet away.
Nisara thinks he wants to use it, the contact she made. That said, dealing with Lorcan might go well for me and might push me up the hierarchy of hell, but it also might push the lot of you onto it. Which, if you're not committed to it, is obviously probably not the best thing for your soul's career.
Harper is really quick to put his hands up. Mean no disrespect, Captain. I don't want to sell my soul to a devil. I
You
sell
weren't
my
getting a
soul.
share of the amulet anyways.
Fair enough.
I don't know if I want to deal with my family. Well, half of my family.
We can take the money and say, fuck Cheliax, fuck the church. That's fine. Or
If
we
they
could take
use it,
otherworldly
then-
power.
With an upcoming war, try to use that amulet.
Could cause chaos in their backyard.
Because you said that the church and the governments, and who's leading this armada? Is it the church, the government?
The church and the government seem to be having a bit of a falling out, which I don't know how that's going to go for Miss Thrune, given she's supported by devils, but we'll find out.
So,
Money or power, gentlemen. That's what we're being offered. Or that's what's on the table. We may be able to write the contract such that my soul takes all of the blame and credit for the deal. And you get the benefits.
Would Bismara be okay with that? She's chaotic evil.
Sandra, as you kind of like mull that question, she looks over and just goes,
Yeah.
man, Unfortunately for me, Edward kind of holds up. He's got a very distinct Besmara tattoo right on the inside of his forearm. It's just like, I believe I'm technically spoken.
I suppose we could try to deal with Lorcan for hard gold, but I don't know in what form that will come. I'm sure he has access to it.
Exact same.
Might be stamped
Come on.
weird, might be tinted red, but I'm sure it'll spin the same.
Gold is gold. There's enough greedy people in the world, but maybe he'll pay the full price. Or it's worth at least jotting up a contract that you.
If I contact Lorcan, he is my patron, there will be some expectation that I take the deal that's offered.
Right, no negotiating.
Well, maybe not no negotiating, but what we come to, I commit to taking a deal, whatever we come to, I think.
Right. Well, if we could push it.
Raises his hand.
I
realize I'm new to the ship, and my word may not carry much weight. But I think gold. There is a war to come. Gold will be helpful. Hiring members of the crew that die, better arming them, better arming us. If we are to fight a armada from Cheliax, we'll need ships. And to crew those ships, we'll need men. That takes gold. Strengthening yourselves is obviously good, but 75,000 gold, or 80, how much was it?
90.
90,000 gold. Buy a lot of bodies.
18,000 apiece, 18,000 towards the crew. The ship's fund, I should say.
That can buy a lot of people. A lot of mercenaries.
And then we just gamble on the church using it against the city.
Caius shrugs and says, I don't care what happens in Cheliax. If it causes fires in their backyard, excellent. That takes pressure off of us.
My only concern is it's not causing fires in Cheliax, causing fires under our seats.
I think dealing with Lorcan has safer outcomes regarding what's going to happen to the Shadow Angel. But perhaps more danger to ourselves.
I quite like myself.
Like I
don't know
said,
about the rest of you lads.
I think if we're dealing for gold, I can write whatever contract to only be pertaining to myself. So long as we're not dealing for power, if he's not empowering you, he doesn't need to deal with you. If he's giving me a lump sum of gold, giving me a lump sum of gold.
Yeah, that's a fair bargain.
Question is, will he offer 75%? Will he offer full? Will he offer half? Or will he say, it's my due, and give me something in exchange, and I'm fucked? I leave it to you. We all found this amulet. I am merely one vote here.
Lads?
I'm for getting rid of it.
Either
What
way,
to
we
do?
get rid of it. But
Yeah.
the Lorcan or the church?
Church.
Right?
I think a guaranteed amount of wealth is better than rolling the bones, as it were. But I agree with getting rid of the damned thing.
It's made me uneasy since we've got it. Sandra? You have a voice now.
Well, I always had a voice.
Right.
It's just now, it's official. The wind blows north. I think we should send it north. At the very least, it gets it far away from here.
and puts a hurricane in between us and it. The very best, the church uses it against the Chilaxian government. That can do nothing but help us. I say we sell it to the church.
Harper? To the church?
To the church, Captain.
We have majority then. The church
To the
goes.
church? Get rid of that fucking thing.
I'll have Nasara finalize the deal. Once we take possession of the gold, they'll get the amulet.
Absolutely beautiful.
That's
So we watch...
Given,
Go ahead, please.
sorry. Given greater teleport, I assume we can handle that this session.
Very quickly. Yeah, it's going to all be handled this session. You guys will have 90K in your pockets before the end of the
Everyone
session.
add 18 grand. Oh,
Let's go.
Assuming
So,
well, if there's nothing else business-wise that we need to attend to, I believe I need to get back to ship.
we are going to montage a little bit of the rest of the repairs being done. All right. And the crew of the 2 ships now. We have 2 ships, and I need to rename these ships, actually. All right, so we've got Devil's Deed is now the Bastard's Hand. All right, we're renaming it. Fuck it, we'll do it live. You'll love to see it. Delete. Okay. And then we also have, hold on, we also have the Dominator. You'll love it. I love that. This will be the Dominator. Alright, so we see a crew, a fleet, I should say. We see a fleet of half a dozen ships, 6 ships, sail from Quent. They make their way through the straits, around Ducas Tooth, and they head into Jeopardy Bay. Alright. And arrive at the city, the unofficial pirate capital of Port Peril. Now, we briefly saw Port Peril way back when we originally began our campaign, sort of in the background, as you guys awoke press-ganged into service. The city itself is a large sort of like little peninsula that juts out. There's a big island that is called Crescent Harbor. And then there is the massive castle on Lucrehold, which is the Pirate King's sort of stronghold, as it were. And to answer your question, Saber, it was actually called the Dominator in the book. Neither of them named it. To answer your question, Saber, it was just named that in the book.
Yeah, we
But-
decided to keep the name.
When you arrive in Port Peril, there's a mooring that's been arranged for you guys, and there's actually a couple of docks in Port Peril that are deep enough for the Dominator to pull right up to. All right, now it's on the little island off of the peninsula, but you guys are able to dock, and there's a lot of, just like in Quent, a lot of pirates that are like, holy shit, that's the Dominator, we know that, we can't believe it, it's flying pirate colors, and there's even more people that are interested in potentially joining the crew, but at this point, you guys have a full complement. You've got over 106 men and women at arms aboard the Dominator, and aboard the Bastard's Hand, we have a good 36 on top of your officers, as it were. All right? But as you guys are getting ready to head off to the testing, you guys will be undergoing a test that is overseen by Tussadok Goldtooth. Tussadok Goldtooth is his name. And this is actually the first mate of Kurdak Bonefist, who is the current Pirate King, the Hurricane King, as he is called. But you guys have some time in Port Peril. Do you guys do any shopping? Do you do any schmoozing? What's the game plan in Port Peril when you first begin?
Edward is from Port Peril
Yes.
originally, and I have my mother and 2 brothers here. So I think he's kind of on business mode right now.
Mhm.
So he's more focused on that, but he definitely at least sends out some letters to let his brother and his mother know that he's alive, because they haven't heard from him since he left.
How's your relationship with your family?
Very close.
Very close.
Very close.
So I would say that at some point they come and visit you at the docks and see the ship. They're impressed, complimentary. Your brother's like, I always knew you had it in you. This is amazing. They ask you for money because that's what family does. They're like, give us some money, it'd be helpful. Maybe a little stipend or something. You guys send money back home. But yeah, it's a good meeting and they're happy. What about Harlan? What would Harlan be up to in Port Peril?
It's a great question. Because he's from Hell Harbor, so he doesn't really have any ties to Port Peril. He was here temporarily when they got shanghaied. I might just stick to Caius just because he doesn't really have any other business to do. Kind of help Caius with anything he needs to get done.
What's Caius up to in Port Peril?
Caius actually has plans.
Ooh.
Port Peril is a metropolis.
It is.
Port Peril has access to 9th level spellcast, if I recall.
It does.
Port Peril, Caius wants to buy a little warehouse.
Interesting.
Like it's a small one.
Okay.
Nothing crazy. Doesn't
Okay.
matter really where it is. It could be away from the docks even. It's not a big deal. So bad location's fine.
Okay.
So he's got like 4,000 gold spent on a warehouse.
You can get a warehouse for $4,000. Absolutely. 100%.
All right. Caius now wants to find said 9th level spellcasting.
Yeah, you can.
And then get a permanency teleportation circle between that warehouse and Dominator.
Done. Cost you a bit of gold. You know the
That's-
price?
I do know the price. It is 25,560, which is covered but essentially by the sale of the Shadow Angel amulet and the funds we already had.
Absolutely brilliant. It is done. You have a permanent teleportation circle between your warehouse, which is amazing because then you can
Sell goods. There's no reason to return to port.
never have to return to port. It's absolutely
Indeed.
fantastic.
So
I tell you, this admiral has thought of everything. Go ahead, Patrick. Forgive me.
yeah, that's like the nuclear power plant on the aircraft carriers. You never have to come home except
And
to refuel.
Yeah, you're limited by food.
Yeah,
and
food and water,
specifically
that's
the room it's built into has little panels that flip down over the teleportation circle.
Mhm.
So when they're flipped down, it obviously interrupts the teleportation circle. So you can't teleport to it
I love that.
while the panels are flipped down.
Brilliant.
Also, it's not put onto the Dominator's floor. They're put onto essentially what is a giant tabletop, so they can be moved.
I like that.
So if our ship sinks, we can recover it.
Move it to new one. The
Yes.
distro said that's an amazing idea, and I agree. That's fantastic. Absolutely fantastic.
I mean, you got to give it to it. Blau is a clever bastard.
I
Just
never know what to
constantly.
expect, and I'm okay with it.
Every time he's like, "I have a plan," I'm like, "Oh, really? Do tell.
Tell us
You
more.
had my curiosity. Now you have my attention."
Ooh.
So we're going to
Um,
kill God this session? Okay, cool. How are we doing that?
Which one?
Tell us, please.
Yeah, which one? And
I love
Caius
it.
would also like to deal with that same spellcaster to get a permanency telepathic bond between Nassara and himself.
Done.
He also approaches Edward and says, "Hey, we need to meet between our ships. Would you like to get permanency telepathy with me, and we can split the cost? We can turn it on and off like a phone call."
First of all, what's a phone? Second of all, cool.
Second of all, what's your mental ringtone?
like a sending spell.
Do-do-do-do-do. Fucking- It's just the Nokia theme but played on a flute.
And that's 12.5 for each of those. So I just spent all of my
Oh my
12.5 plus
god,
6,
that is
62.50.
Fuck! I'm trying to nap. What?
Not now, Caius. I'm on the shitter.
Fuck!
Wakir, what are you up
And-
to in Port Peril? Or wait,
And
do you have
with
more
that, I'm
guys?
out of gold.
Oh, all right, fair enough. And at that, you're broke. Wakir, what are you getting up to in Port Peril? That's amazing.
I'm assuming there's a temple to Besmara here.
Absolutely, several.
The High Temple.
Oh yeah, big one.
I
It's
want-
like it's built on a pier, and it's basically just like a big open air, kind of like gathering place to where like the wind.
I want
just
to talk
always
to the
hit
High
the wind.
Priestess.
You may talk to her. It's actually a high priest here.
A priest? Okay. And your saltiness.
Rice drowned.
What is Besmara's relationship with the Asmodeus? Other than the we're more of the live and let live. They're more of the live under the rule. Is that permissible?
The man that you speak to, is dressed in similar clothing to the first officer of the Dominator, Sandrad. He has kind of a white shirt, pants, a little tricorn hat. The question, he sort of like breathes that question in, and as you ask it, the wind, and you're near Crescent Harbor, okay, so kind of up here,
Yep.
and there's like just always like a nice steady breeze, and the wind kind of shifts, kind of a swirl. Besmara is all about freedom. A little bit of chaos, a bit of trickery, the opened air. Her anathema is to betray one's shipmates, to forsake piracy, and to settle upon dry land. We must always be moving. You ask what her relationship is with Asmodeus. There is no relationship. She is chaotic. She is the sea banshee. Asmodeus is too fastidious for the comings and goings of the Black Lady. Why do you ask this question, pirate?
Well, for the past months, I have, along with another cleric, priestess of Besmara, served under an Asmodean captain. And while he has held his word up, and he's a good captain, there are just some things that I don't know if Besmara really truly wishes me to be here. Now, let me say this. I have this, which was found early in our travels, and I pull out the gun.
His eyes go wide. And he actually, like, almost seems to, like, want to drop to a knee, like, out of respect. You have been chosen. You are a champion of the pirate. Let me ask you, of this captain, this Asmodean captain that you sail with, does he keep you upon the sea? Do you sail upon the sea? Yes, good.
Yes.
Have you stayed loyal to him and he to the crew?
Yes.
And do you take what you want when you want?
I take what I need. I don't want for much. I'm a simple man. I have had riches, and I've had them go away. I have been on a crew. I have been press ganged. In fact, that is how I met this captain.
at any point has this Asmodean suggested that you forsake piracy,
Oh no, no, no.
then perhaps he is not as much an Asmodean as he thinks he is. Perhaps the Lady of the Sea, Sailor's Doom, perhaps she works through him. And perhaps he works her will in a way. It is not unlike the Sea Banshee to find pirates in unlikely places, whom he chooses to outwardly worship. Perhaps that is not truly where his heart resides. You ask me if you should sail under him. You ask me if she supports what you do.
I've never had a spell fail.
That's a lie, and you know it.
That I realized.
You realized, yeah.
I mean, what I mean that failed. I mean, like, cast it and nothing happens. I've had plenty of spells that I've cast that just didn't work. She's never, I guess you would say she's never forbidden me a spell.
She would not have given you that fine weapon did she not support you sailing under this man. Continue to sail, continue to plunder, and in doing so you do her will.
I plopped down a big old bag of gold.
How much?
1,000.
Damn, girl. Fantastic. Your patronage and your support for the Church of Besmara is appreciated and noted. And as you turn, there's like a nice gust of wind that comes in. You see kind of a crackle of like thunder out. There's like a storm coming by. You can just feel that kind of shift of wind. But you walk out, walk here, you feel like the lady's with you. Like she's like, you're doing a damn good job. Like she supports you in what you're doing. I love that. Absolutely. I love that. That's fantastic. All right, so we are going to cut to a big gathering. And this is actually going to take place just outside of Lucre Hold, which is the island hold of the Hurricane King. Okay, Kurdak Bonefist. And there are probably a dozen or more potential pirate crews and their captains who are attempting at this point to become free captains in the Shackles. All right. Now, with the free captaincy, it gives you the right to sail and pirate wherever you want. It gives you access to meetings, connections, respect, infamy, as it were, among other pirates of the Shackles. There is no restriction, all right, where you can go once you are given the title of free captain, all right? There is this half-orc man who is in the process of addressing this large crowd that has gathered, all right? And he is wearing a very fine red coat. He has what appears to be like a blunderbuss on his hip, not dissimilar to the one that you have, all right? But a little more blundery than actual precision, all right? I'm going to show you guys this gentleman, all right? This is the gentleman that we're looking at here, okay? Now, he is the first mate. He is the first mate of Kurdak Bonefist. And you see there's this large stage that's been prepared. You see the Pirate King himself. You see Kurdak Bonefist is sitting there. And you see there's a bunch of other pirates along with him. Tessa is there. There's sort of this, think of it like a wedding, where they've got the wedding, like all the different people from the wedding. What's that called? The wedding
party.
Party. Thank you. The wedding party. It's almost like the wedding party up there at the front, right? And I'm gonna show you Kurdak. This is Kurdak Bonefist. He is a big Blackbeard looking dude. All right. He is always got like a food and like a little bit of foam and froth in his beard.
and he is laughing and joking. You see Tessa's there with him, and they're just all enjoying it. But Tsodok, Goldtooth, Mr. Goldtooth, he is really riling up the crowd. And he's like, today we have several, more than a dozen pirate captains, would-be free captains of the Shackles. They're all weak, they don't know anything. Oh, I heard the Dominator folks are here, they're gonna win everything. And they're all just shouting and yelling, and he's really riling up the crowd. There's a huge gathering of pirates, some free captains, some common folk, etc. But the test, this is what he calls it, all right? The test that you will be doing is to receive a letter of mark that thereby allows you to become what he says is legitimate pirates, free captains under Kurdak Bonefist. You basically have his blessing, his letter of mark, all right? And there are going to be several events that take place during this gathering that will prove that you are capable of being free captains, all right? There was a moment where, like, who would like to do the test, etc. You guys pronounced your desire to do it. Tessa seconded it, giving you a chance to do it. But the first test is to see whether or not you are true passable sailors, not just fancy jackets. Sorry, I just heard something downstairs. Oh, my wife just got home. No, we're all good. My wife just got home probably from the theater. Yep, all right, cool. We're good. Sorry about that. Yes. So the first test is going to be a test to see if you can climb the rigging of a ship, okay? Now, during these tests, all right, you guys will be undergoing, like, there'll be water shot at you, somebody will be summoning, like, a storm, so it's gonna be a little crazy. And the way that we're gonna do this is you will do a couple of profession sailor checks, all right? So hopefully you've been pumping those, all right? Profession sailor checks, and each of you is going to have to do this, okay? So your DC for climbing up the rigging, undoing some knots that are up there while this is all going is going to be a DC 15. That's going to allow you to simply pass the test. If you get a DC 20, you guys are the first ones to get it done, which gives you a couple extra points in favor of actually getting your letter of mark and becoming free captains. Do we all make sense what's going on right now?
Yep.
Yeah. All right, perfect. So we're kind of doing a little bit of theater of the mind here. There's all this like jumping and roaring, and people are shouting, and people are making fun of you, and laughing and joking. Okay, but here's what we've got. All right, so first test. I'm gonna have everyone just give me a profession sailor check. Let's see how well you climb the rigging. 21, 30, 33, fantastic, and a 28. So let me put it this way. There's a couple of other crews here. You guys spring into action like it is so one-sided as you guys climb the rigging, quickly get the sails unfurled. There's storms, there's gusts of wind, there's craziness happening, and you crush the competition. And there's sort of this hush that falls over the crowd as you guys get done with your rigging a good minute and a half, 2 minutes before the other crews are even close to being done. It is incredible. Absolutely incredible. But as this is all going on, I'd like everyone to make a perception check into the crowd of onlookers. All right, 15, 9. Edward, 26 and 25. All right. Edward, you notice among the crowd, you see a somewhat familiar face. It is a certain gentleman that you saw back in Quent. Do you remember this gentleman right here? Remember where he's from, Edward? You actually ran into him in Quent as well, which is interesting. You paid a half-ogre to distract him for a while.
It's Harrigan's little errand boy.
That is one
It's
of
Kipper.
Harrigan's little... That is Kipper. You're absolutely correct. You see Kipper watching you all. And Kipper recognizes you all. And as you are in the middle of climbing the rigging, then kind of climbing down, you see him, finish the job, you climb down, and he is gone. Gone from the crowd. You scan, you look around, you do not see him. You inform the rest of the crew.
Oh, yeah.
Captain, Pius, you get this information. Do you do anything about it in this moment?
Yeah, he's going to send Nassar to look for, check on both the ships, and then look for him starting here.
Perfect. 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 So she heads off, but you guys win the first test. You're number one. 4 of the dozen or so crews that started, a couple of them fall out of the rigging. One guy like breaks his shoulder. Someone falls and snaps his neck and dies. Like, they're bad. Like, they don't even know how they even got to this point, but it's really sad. So it's down to like 8 crews that are still competing to become free captains. You guys are currently just like the 4 runners. Like, you're the number 1 right now. The second one is to see the second game, the second test is a friendly game of cards. That is the second test that you guys undergo. Goldtooth wants to see how much talent and how much luck each of you possesses, all right? So a small table is set up on the aft deck of the Dominator. They actually request to use the Dominator if you're willing to let them use it.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Everyone's super impressed. It's awesome. It's big. So the way that we're going to do this, all right, the way that we're going to do this is really, I just want you guys to decide, do you win the game of cards? Do you lose the game of cards? And if you win, who among you is the winner in the game of cards? I'm going to let you guys take a little free license here. So it's you guys versus a couple other, there's like a couple of tables of like different cards that are going on. They're playing, it's like a Texas Hold'em kind of poker kind of game, all right? But it's like pirate poker, all right? It's PP, pirate poker, just like PP points, the pirate points. It's very good. Little pirate poker going on, all right? You guys win or do you lose? And how badly do you win? And do you win simply by luck or do you win because you cheat? These are the things I want to know.
Is this
I
a
can't-
team
I
event?
can't cheat because I have no sleight of hand.
This is a you guys versus another crew, and there's several different rounds that go on. But each of you is working together, and every time if you lose a round, one of your guys gets knocked out, which makes it harder for you to win the round. So I'm curious, do you win a couple rounds and end up losing? Do you win all the rounds? Like, how does it work? I'm letting you guys take a little creative license here.
All right. Well, with my sense motive, I could definitely
Let's
read the other guys.
Mhm.
I don't have any other abilities. Like
Yeah,
my bluff is nothing.
I think I
Caius can bluff pretty well with that.
I was gonna say-
11 to be a 22.
was gonna think we could also kind of more or less work together by kind of those of us who aren't maybe as lucky or as perceptive to kind of like egg the other guys on and make them overextend themselves, you know, and then like those of you who are good at bluff and everything else can hold fast and just effectively let the other guys fuck themselves over.
yeah,
So we could
I
act
thi-
as like sacrificial pawns to give you guys an edge.
And I think with strategy, I think we probably win the first round.
Okay, so the first round you win. There's a total of 4 rounds. What happens the second round?
Well, let me see.
Yeah, let's find out.
Do a sense motive. Not as good.
Pretty good. Okay, still pretty good.
Only rolled a 7.
Harlan will make a deal of looking at his hands and then just like making a face and then just folding.
Ooh, okay. All right. Lulling them into a false sense of security. I like it. I like it.
Yeah. Caius will also grimace at his hand with a good bluff check of 25 there.
Pretty good. It's pretty good.
And he actually has a good hand.
Ooh, okay, okay, okay.
But, he'll ante, minimum or whatever, and then
Yeah, I think I
just
would.
trying to lull them in.
I would too. Kind of just.
And you watch as this crew goes all in, and it's a very quick win for you guys. Very, very quick win. All right, the third round, I'm gonna make the choice that you guys win, and the fourth round, it's down to you and one other crew. All right, you guys have knocked basically all these other crews out of the running. It's down to you and another crew. All right, and we're gonna roll I'm going to roll their bluff check. You're going to roll your bluff checks. Anybody may assist. We're going to see who gets the higher. All right?
Oh.
Whoever wins. That's where we're at. All right?
I
Bluff
have
versus
no-
bluff.
Well, that's pretty good.
You may use a sense motive if you want to. What here?
Yeah, I'll attempt it, but I'm rolling at a flat.
Yeah,
Okay.
I got a
This is-
better.
Oh, nat 20. Let's go.
Oh,
And I
Nice.
have a 0 in bluff too.
yeah,
pretty
me
good.
too.
That's
so
pretty good.
I guess I'll just. I have
There's a
14.
there's a
Those
reason
are all
why
pretty
I'm-
good.
The 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32. You're at a 32 right now. All right.
God,
They
usually
get
when
a-
I play
they
cards,
get
I've
a
been drinking.
33.
Hero point. Hero point.
You want me to re-roll it?
Reroll it.
I'll re-roll it. 22!
That's
You
what I-
out-bluff them and take the house. All right? Take the house. Now, the cool thing, too, these guys end up making about an extra $5,000. $5,000 in these bets. So you walk with
It is
$5,000
our
after it.
it is our ship. It would be weird to
Yes.
lose on it.
It absolutely would be. All right.
Everyone had a grand. I'll add a grand to the ship fund.
The final test. The final test is the repelling borders. All right. Now, this test is set up to where all of your crew, other than you as the commanders and the two captains, all of your crew is sent off the ship. And the test is to see if whether or not you all simply, by yourselves, can repel borders. All right. And everyone's kind of getting excited. You hear this murmur kind of among the crowd, and they're like, "Oh, they're never going to expect this. This is going to be absolutely wild. They have no idea what's coming." And as everyone's getting ready, and you guys are setting up, and you can see like all the crowd kind of starts to part. You see 3 giant cages getting pulled on little wheels towards the side of your ship. All right, as at the dock at Threshold. And what we see are 3 marsh giants wielding massive weapons that look pissed as can be. Goldtooth says, "And here we have the final test. We'll see if these would-be free captains can repel the giant borders." Ah! And all the crowd's like going crazy, and they're like, "Ah, yeah, it's gonna be awesome."
This will be easy.
Probably.
Yeah, we get any time to prepare for this, or we're just going like right off the hop?
You're gonna go right off the hop as the cages are opened, and the 3 marsh giants come rushing towards the side of your ship, just rushing towards the side of your ship. And we are gonna pivot over to the Dominator, my friends, because I'm assuming you'd be defending the Dominator, of course. You'd be the Dominator, and we are gonna have a boarding action as 3 giant marsh giants, all puns intended, giant marsh giant, come rushing towards your ship. And we're going to roll initiative, and we're going to get into a little bit of combat. You guys thought it was going to be all RP, and you're going to get a little bit of combat. Boomski doomski. There you go. All right, let's get wild, boys.
So
come
it's just us, right?
It's just you guys. Just you guys. You can bring Blackbeak, obviously, because he's technically a part. Actually, no. They say no animal companions.
Okay.
They do make that rule. No animal companions. And I'm going to drop us into a little bit of combat music. We're getting a little wild here, boys. Let's go! All right. You may position yourselves anywhere on the deck that you see as you see fit. Marsh giants are coming at midship. All right.
Yeah, I'm trying to debate if I'd be. I mean, I'd be higher up realistically. Yeah, I'd be up in a crow's nest if I'm gonna repel borders.
I like it.
That's just makes sense. So I'll say I'm up in the main
Crow's nest.
the main mast.
Yeah, I love it.
Pretty tough.
There's actually a little crow's nest symbol right over to the left right hand side, but that's off the map, so you guys
Yeah,
you can
I'll
put
do
yourself there.
right. I'll put it right there. It's fine. We know where it's
Love
at.
it. Love it. All right, so as the combat starts, you see the crowds on the shore. These marsh giants rush towards you. They have grappling hooks. They throw the grappling hooks up. They start climbing up the side. They're all crazy and like hungry and bloodthirsty. Give me a perception check, everyone. I want to see if you guys notice one particular thing as the combat begins. You all notice that as the creatures rush towards you, there is a kind of wavering, sort of like heat rising off of asphalt, and the 3 marsh giants start to move a little bit quicker than they did before. Anybody that has spellcraft may make a spellcraft check. All right. The 20 and the 21 saw the wavering. So both Edward and Caius, give me an additional perception check to see if you can notice who cast the spell.
Oh, there we go.
Well,
30
is
fucking 3. 30 fucking 3. There is a woman in the crowd, and you can see her sort of very subtly moving her hand, and you see just a little bit of magic, some of her eyes glowing. And you see this woman, and I'm going to show her to you. But as soon as you see her, she's going to slip into the crowd, and again, you just simply can't rush after her in this moment. But she looks like this. I'll show this to you guys. This is what she looks like. All right? Just like that.
That's a new one.
Yep.
She wearing sequins?
She's wearing sequins. And then she slips into the crowd. All right?
It's my bedazzled top.
We are going to jump into the fight. And unfortunately, Caius, you only have a +1 to initiative. Is that correct?
Yeah.
All right. These giants are going before you because they have a +3. So 18.03. So this giant, who is right here, he is going to begin to climb. And he's going to make a climb check as he begins to run up the side of the ship. And they've got a pretty good climb. Go ahead and roll this really quick.
Right.
24. And he's going to manage to kind of climb up, like, mostly onto the deck. As he pulls himself up in the deck. He's...
So
Anybody speak giant?
I do not. I rolled a 24 though.
no.
On the...
Initiative.
On the initiative? Oh, did you? Oh. That's weird that it didn't push it up.
Yeah, it didn't sort it. I don't know
That's
why.
fine. Harlan, you are going to go first. But this guy just took his turn. So I guess, shoot him.
That's fine. It's fine. Let's see. They're still climbing up. I probably actually can't see these two due to the... Well, no, I'm high enough. I'm like... very high. How high is the crow's nest in this? 80 feet.
80 feet.
80 whole feet.
I love these maps, by the way. They are so cool.
Yeah,
they
they're
were worth. It was like
super
$5.
decent.
$5 for like
Oh,
all these
dude,
versions.
that's
So
a-
worth it.
That's a great
Steal.
$5.
Yeah.
Steal.
Absolute
Yeah.
steal.
Yeah, we'll take a little shooty at this guy.
In fact, what's the name of the guy that did this?
Yeah, I'm-
let's see, man.
Let's see.
Blind
attack
ship
bonus.
of the line.
Oh, I got a new macro I'm dealing with, courtesy of Blau, so I have to remember how to do it here.
God bless you. Good luck.
Yeah, yeah, right. So really 17. Yeah, 17, 10, 20.
As the arrow flies true, 17. You see the arrow? Katink. Just right off of his thick hide. You see the 10, Katink. The 20, Katink. And finally,
We're not hasted.
They were not hasted. It's just part of the
finally, we see the haste attack not go off because you're not hasted, which sucks. But unfortunately, none of those went through. That sucks.
Damn.
All right. Guy, this is turn. Caius, you are up next.
Caius is going to delay until after the other 2 giants, so he doesn't have to move so much.
Okay. I'm going to drag you down to here. This giant here is going to climb his way up the side. He's going to give it a little climb check here. 27. He is good to go. He's going to get up close to the deck. And then this last giant is going to attempt to climb up as well. Or see what happens for him. Oh, I believe. Oh, Mr. Giant. Here we go. He's going to climb up as well. 25. Yeah, they're all on the deck. They get up the deck. Grappling hooks. They run up. They grapple up, and they are ready to tango, as it were. Caius, you delayed.
Yeah, Caius is gonna go ahead and full round this giant that climbed up right beside him.
Love it. Make it happen.
No bite So 34 for 19 and 25 for 16.
You bring your blade down, and it sort of freezes the flesh as it cuts it away, and the giant's it's just like fat, and it's like yellow is all kind of pooling out from him, and he just looks not too happy about those 2 hits. 16, the 14, and an additional 5 frost damage on you. Edward, you're up next, my friend.
I'm going to slash the big guy that decided he needed to be right in front of me.
Love it, love it, love it.
Come on. Come on.
What do we got? We got 18, miss, 18, miss, 13, miss, 21 hit for 18, and a 29 confirmed.
Haste
That's
again.
it. But no haste. Damn. No haste. So only the 18 gets in, man.
That would have been
Only the
my.
18 gets in. It's unfortunate.
Yeah, it would.
That is unfortunate. All right, well, Kier, you're up next. You got 3 marsh giants up on the deck. They're looking hungry. Hungry
Alright,
for you. And they're
so-
currently hasted.
Are all 3 within 10 feet of our captain? No.
No, only 2 of them are.
Only 2 of them. Okay, so I'm going to get back up here to where I can
Oh, boy. Here we
use
go.
this.
We're going. We're getting weird.
I'm trying to find my spell here.
Let's go.
Okay. So he's just going to spat a word out.
Okay.
And forbid is the word.
Ooh. Okay,
Oh,
which
wait a
one?
minute. These are giants, right?
Yes, they are.
Fudge. Do they speak common?
These giants do, in fact, not speak common.
Do they speak polyglot?
They speak boggard, giant.
Skull. I can't use that then.
Out of a biscuit.
That sucks. Well, then I will do plan
You know
B.
what? I'm going to give this one to you, Wakir. They do speak common because they've lived in the Shackles for a while.
Yeah,
And
there's
they've
a
been-
language called polyglot. which-
Yeah, they do. They speak it.
Okay.
They speak it.
Alright.
Yeah, I'm going to go with it.
So it's called Forbid Action Greater,
Okay.
and it is an enchantment. So it is. I'm making sure that my
1 creature per level, no 2 of which can be more than 30 feet per... Oh my god.
and it's actually a 22, not a 20. It did not have my spell focus.
And what are you forbidding them to do? Attack?
Attack. Now, the 2 that are closest to the captain
-4.
have a -2, I believe.
-4?
All saving throws.
-2 or -4?
-2.
-2.
-2
All right,
to
cool.
all saving throws.
All right, first one in front of Edward. 12. Cannot attack. That is crazy. All right, boom.
And it's for 9 rounds.
Second one. Cannot attack. Cannot attack. This is crazy. Last one. Make his save as well. 80. 12.
No.
Cannot attack for 9 rounds. 9
Do we just call
rounds.
this combat here?
So, I want you to imagine that this storm that I'd mentioned earlier that was brewing, right, earlier in the day, it actually starts to roll in and the rain starts to kind of come down. And you see these giants, like, struggling to slash, looking confused and angry, as Caius takes his sword and just guts the one in front of him. You just gut him and just spills out. The giant just right off the side of the vessel. We see Edward take his blades and just start to slice and dice. You like go under, you cut his tendon, like his Achilles, his heel, and he cut and he like he falls over the side of the ship. And then we see Harlan up in the crow's nest, just thunk, thunk, thunk. 4 arrows. 4 arrows into this thing's side of this thing's head, and it just starts to swing in front of it. Just like it's all instinct and muscles, like muscle twitching at this point, and then it falls off the side. And as quickly as this fight had started, this fight is over. You
Guys,
would
one over
think
shoulder? Well
One
done.
word.
Yeah, Edward is very much kind of. Wait.
Oh
You would
yeah,
think-
this is going to be a great spell. I love this spell.
There is a silence. There is a hush that falls over the crowd. They were cheering and shouting as you guys, in literally 6 seconds, just push back these 4 massive, massive creatures. And then you hear a voice. 3 cheers! 3 cheers for the crew of the Dominator! 3 cheers for the crew of the Bastard's Hand! 3 captains! 3 captains! As you look around, the crowd erupts. Hats are thrown in the air. There is cheering and shouting. Your own crew rushes the gangplanks up onto the deck. There's pats, there's claps, there's hugs, there's high fives, there's fist bumps. Everyone is losing their minds. And as they're all losing their minds, there is a loud, thunderous kaboom. There is a loud, thunderous kaboom. And it is Goldtooth. It is Goldtooth. He has fired his blunderbuss into the air, and he is standing just a few feet from the stage where the wedding party, the pirate party, the pee-pee party, is all... You see that the Hurricane King himself has stood up. As his hand resting... Holy crap, Sadistro. Oh my god. Thank you so much for 10 subs. Holy shit, dude. That is incredibly kind.
Ooh, thank you, man.
Wow, dude. That is... Holy shit, dude. Thank you. Wow, that is the most
My
subs
God.
that anyone has ever given me, and Wow, I'm sorry to take it out of the moment, but, like, thank you so much, dude. That is insanely kind. Thank you, man. Fuck me. That's thank you, dude. That you have no idea. That really helps. This is literally this is the only job I have right now. So I really appreciate it, man. Thank you. That you didn't have to do that, but wow, I'm gonna fucking cry. That was so nice of you. Jesus, I need a moment to just collect myself. That was super kind. Fuck, man. That's awesome. Where was I? Kurdak Bonefist was standing up? Dude,
Standing up.
That's so nice of you, man. All right, but we see him rise up. And as he rises up, he has his left hand resting on his cutlass. And Kurdak has, like, a bandolier of pistols. And he takes a pistol. He points it at the sky. Boom. Takes it. Puts it in. Saber, thank you so much for the sub as well. Takes another pistol. Fires it. 4th, 3rd, and a 4th. Then puts them all back. By the power vested in me as the Hurricane King of the Shackles, I find these pirates be true pirates. You are truly, truly free captains. I grant to you letters of marque. And he has, like, these letters, and there's, like, a dozen of them at first, but now there's only 2 left, because it's really just the 2 of you. And he beckons, calling out to this deep, raspy, Blackbeard voice. I call out 2 pirates, Captain Edward, Captain Caius. Approach, if you would please.
I will step forwards.
You see
We're
Tessa
side by side.
is next to him, and she's, like, nodding her head and smiling at you like, good fucking job. Good fucking job. But he presents you 2 letters, and there's a little seal. It has his symbol, which is literally a skull and crossbones. That is his symbol. Little symbol in there. And his first mate comes over, grabs them, and presents them to you. He says, with these 2 letters of marque, you are now recognized as true pirates, free captains among the Shackles. This is not to be taken lightly. For to be a pirate, to truly be a free man or woman of the sea, it is to forsake the life on the land. It is to live free and potentially die hard. But I grant this to you with respect. And I have a feeling that I will be seeing more of you and hearing more of your deeds very soon. Congratulations. Now, everyone, we feast!
And then like the crowd erupts in just like thunderous applause, and there's more slaps on the backs and shakes and what have ye. And it is just an absolute wild party. And as everything's going on, and people start to kind of calm down a little bit, we see Tessa actually rise up, and she says, I have one request. A speech. A speech from the Captain Caius. I suppose we should call you Commodore. Maybe Admiral. Perhaps both. A speech at your new appointment and your new title.
Caius will, step up onto the stage. And is the crew of the Dominator there? The crew of the Dominator and the back?
Everyone is there. Everyone. All of your crew.
I may be being granted the title of free captain, but I don't sail the ship alone, and it's the bravery of my crew that allowed me to take the Dominator. It's the bravery of my crew that allowed us to build this foundation. And the bravery of my crew that unfortunately takes us away from piracy for a time to serve Captain Tessa. I ask you for this sacrifice in our triumph.
And there's kind of a murmur. And Tessa, who is standing behind you, she lifts a mug of ale, and she says, and I accept your commission. You will serve under me, I your pirate lord, for a time. But I promise you, sooner rather than later, you yourself, based on your current deeds, will likely hold the title of Pirate Lord yourself. Once again, 3 cheers for Captain Caius, Captain Edward, and their 2 crews. And you hear the hip hip hurrah, hip hip hurrah, hip hip hurrah. And everyone just seems really happy. Everyone seems just really excited. Everyone drinks way, way, way too much. As the party settles down, and all of you are schmoozing and mingling and having fun, and people are complimenting you, our final scene for today's session, is going to be back aboard the Bastard's Hand. Edward, do you drink as a pirate, right?
Yes.
Okay. You had a little bit too much to drink. You're feeling a little tipsy. Stumbled your way back. And as we started our session, you are, once again, DM, the Game Master's taking a little bit of creative license here. He's sort of marionetting you a little bit, right? But you are once again the helm of your very own ship. And we see there's like a little bit of moonlight has come up. The harbor is very still right now. The storm rolled through. Everyone got super soggy, as it were. But it's very still, but it's illuminated. And the moonlight, clear sky, is just glistening. You can see all of these stars, even with the lights illuminating Port Peril. You see all of these stars around, and they're just kind of twinkling. And, Edward, this is a very peaceful, calming moment for you. Once again, you are reveling, perhaps feeling contented as a captain. Everything's a little blurry. And as everything is a little blurry, we see a new face. A new face that we have not seen before. And this is a new member of your crew, Edward. We haven't gotten her name yet. In fact, you, in this moment, don't remember what her name is. She has short, kind of brown, messy hair. Big, sort of Cthulian kind of tattoo on her shoulder. Comes down. Big hoop earrings, big rings around her wrists. And she is holding a bottle. She comes up and just sort of leans against the stern mast. And she doesn't say anything, Edward.
but she motions with her bottle of alcohol, and I need you to give me a will save. However, you're very drunk, so you currently have a -8 to this will save.
Oh.
Roll
Looks
them
like somebody's
bones.
looks like somebody's gonna be off the reservation.
Roll them bones. Edward,
Fuck.
you black out,
With that being said,
and you're not sure what happens. But with that being said, gentlemen,
as my shirt says,
absolutely fantastic session. 10 out of fucking 10. That was amazing. You guys did fantastic. Once again, I just want to say thank you to Saberlin, and
Yeah,
a
that was
true,
cool.
true thanks to Sadistro for the 10 gifted subs. That is incredibly generous, incredibly kind, and I genuinely appreciate it. This is literally my only job right now due to some circumstances, so like this really helps, and I very much appreciate it. And also, I just want to say a special thanks to Sadistro for the new character that I got to introduce, and I really hope I did her justice. He did an amazing job. He built a full character. I got a full character sheet, backstory. Like when he presented it to me, like it tied into the story so well. Like she is a collector of information and like both arcane and mundane. I was like, oh my god, they're about to uncover a spy network, which is super awesome. So very, very, very fun. So our next session, which will be next Sunday, is going to be us diving into the lady's request, which is her request to find who these pirate, like these spies from Chillax are, and undo the spy network. Which, if you undo it, it's really going to make it harder for the Chillaxian Navy, which we're 99.9% sure is coming, to make it happen. So no, you did a great job, man. I tried to play her well. He said I did, so I really appreciate it. But as I always say at the end of every session, any final thoughts, questions, comments, or concerns before we get ready to wrap up today's session?
You're a dick.
I know.
You're a dick.
I really like to imagine that during this whole thing, Caius is drunk calling Zeb. Or, drunk calling
Yes!
Edward.
Yeah.
Edward is just knocking up everybody in the fleet.
I will have a harem of my own.
you had your phone pocket dialed and it left a voicemail. 20
That
minutes
character is a brand new pirate by the name of Simone. That is a brand new pirate by the name of Simone, and Simone
Griff is gonna
Laramie.
kill her.
And she is she's gonna be trouble. And it was really funny because I mentioned to Zeb before we started today's session that I was like, I have a new character. She's going to be a person. And he was like, what does that mean? I was like, you'll find out. You'll find out. And I was
I had
just
a
waiting
bad
for
fucking
this.
feeling
I
about
was
that,
just
like,
waiting for it. So fun.
gonna
But you
pull
guys
some
did great.
bullshit.
So I just want to say again, thank you so much to the players for playing. Truly, without you guys, this has been an amazing journey. I am having so much fun with this campaign. You guys are awesome. Without you, this is impossible. So truly, from the bottom of my heart, thank you. Thank you to the viewers for viewing. Once again, I really appreciate the 10 gifted subs. I've said it 8 times. That was so amazing. Thank you so much for doing that. And happy gaming, everybody. We'll see you next week. Same game time, same game place for session 20 of Skull and Shackles, Chapter 3, Tempest Rising. Until then, be well, be safe, take care, and good night.